Hi everybody, it's Kirsty from Lifting Consciousness here. I hope you're all doing really well. I'm here again today with my lovely friend Amy, or Amos as she will be known throughout this podcast, from Rainbow Healing Services. We're here to talk about the wheel. So this is a card in the tarot deck for those of you familiar, but we're going to go into a bit more detail. So hopefully you'll find it a topic of interest. But before I do that, I'll just hand over to Amy, Amos, to introduce herself in case you've not seen any of the other podcasts before. So take it away.
Thank you, Kirsty, aka Kirstos, how you will also be referred to during this podcast. So I'm Amy from Rainbow Healing Services. I'm a Reiki therapist and teacher, also doing intuitive readings and a bit of crystal healing. And it's lovely to be here today to talk about the wheel with you.
Fabulous. Yeah, thanks for that. So definitely check out Amos, Amy. It just feels weird saying Amy, so you have to bear with me because this is, we're friends. So we're speaking our truth in all of that. So this discussion today, I've been really excited about doing this and wanted to bring Amos on as well because of her insights in terms of the wheel. So for those of you familiar with tarot, the wheel is a card. It's also known as the Wheel of Fortune. It can be known as the Wheel of Destiny, the Karmic Wheel of Destiny. So that's in the tarot deck. So we've got, because we do intuitive readings and we love using these divination tools, we've both got several decks between us, but different decks. So what we thought would be good is to kind of select a couple of the wheels from our decks, and then we can show them, we can talk about them and see what correlates. We get different intuitive hits from them, both being intuitive readers. So that's really exciting as well, because there might be something that I see and Amos will see something differently, and vice versa. So it's really interesting. And obviously you watching, at home, wherever you are, we'll be able to intuit different things as well, because it's however source speaks to you through that divination tool and hits your soul. That's how I feel anyway, that it kind of comes through to you. So you might even glean something more fantastic than we can see. So take everything how it resonates always. So we'll jump right in. I suppose the first thing I wanted to say, and just to ask Amos, as she's here with me today, for which I'm very grateful, is what the wheel means to you, because I know it can mean a number of things, and we will get into the cards in a bit. But when you think of the wheel in terms of the Wheel of Destiny, the Wheel of Fortune, does that have any immediate sort of connotations to you of anything?
It does, actually, and I know we discussed this pre-podcast because I know often we'd like to take a daily card, and my daily card for today was the wheel, which I thought, no coincidence there. To me, it speaks of possibilities. So sort of many sort of things can happen, many sort of roads that we can take, but it does also speak of that Wheel of Destiny. So it feels quite a powerful card in that sense, in terms of something that's destined to occur on your path, that could be kind of coming in, at that particular moment. So it'd be interesting to see if anything like that happens for me today, just as I've had a message pop up on my messenger.
Absolutely, divine timing as always, as we know, but absolutely agree with you in terms of the wheel. And I also like to think of the wheel as we think of a wheel, we think of motion, because that's how wheels are designed. And of course, that motion of being on our journey, on our respective paths, it does allow for things to kind of come in, doesn't it? And when you think of certainly how it's termed the Wheel of Fortune, the Wheel of Destiny, very positive links to what's coming into, our journey, or what we're deciding to do to make the wheel turn in our favour. I always read reversals. I know Amos doesn't necessarily, unless you're particularly guided to, but I always sort of feel if it comes out in reverse, that's how spirit intends it for me in my readings. And when the wheel is reversed for me, I always pick up on stagnation, which is obviously that lack of motion. So I guess that was all I wanted to really say on that. But let's dive into the cast. I'm really excited to see what we've got, and I'll kick it off with the first one that I've got, which is from the Lightseers Tarot, which is one of my favourite tarot decks. So this is the wheel, if you can see that, which is absolutely beautiful. And what I see here is there is balance because of how she is posed on this set of wheels. So there's actually more than one wheel here, but obviously one main wheel. She is posing. She's got a dice on her top or her dress. So there's an element of risk, maybe taking a chance on something. And also what I always see, and this was something else we talked about pre-podcast, is the white and the black here that's almost feeding in, which is that balance of the divine feminine and divine masculine. And rather appropriately, I'm wearing that today, but also Amos has also got, with her 2 cards, just flashing them up so that you don't spoil.
I certainly will.
Dark. So there's definitely that sort of link there with the balance. And I think that's just important to recognize on the journey anyway, isn't it? To have that balance of divine feminine, divine masculine on our journey. But often it comes in for me with readings. And if I'm drawn straight to that, that always means to me that there is that element of needing to balance the divine feminine and divine masculine within. So that's just how I sort of interpret that. But also what I see is the Jupiter symbol in her pose. That's just what I see. So it's kind of that expansion. So again, the wheel's turning in the direction that we want it to turn, and it's offering that expansion of opportunities because it's turning. And again, in stagnation, as I would say it, there's possibly a lack of movement, a lack of motion, maybe because of this needing to be balanced, and therefore some lack of expansion. So that's just how I interpret it. And of course, you know, the hangman always comes in. I got this prepared. Look, the hangman, you know, always comes into it then, because I see a similarity with the pose, but that's just how I intuit it. So going for your first card, whatever, you know, you might have anything else you want to say about that card actually, Amos, but you know, if not, what's your first card?
Wow, yeah, just with that one, there were 3 words that came to mind really. It was sort of freedom, you know, because of how she looks to fly, taking a leap of faith, so similar to the Fool energy. But also that those choices that we talked about, because it's kind of, I've got a choice which way I go, and I can just leap into it really, because the wheel's turning in my favor. So that was very much what I felt with that.
Absolutely. She's very confident as well on this wheel, because the balance that's got to be there to be standing on a stack of wheels like that. She's very confident that she's in that position, that she's not going to.
She's fine. Yeah,
absolutely. So can't wait to see your first card. Let's have a look.
Yes. Wow. Drum roll, please. So it's this one. So this was the card that I actually pulled for myself this morning, and this comes from the Spirit Song Tarot, which are probably one of my newest sets of cards. I love them because they've got animal representation for each one. What really stands out for me with this, we sort of mentioned about possibilities and change, which are the 2 words on the bottom of the card. But we've got, you know, the octopus. So we've got many different branches, many different limbs going off in many different directions. So we've got that choice of which kind of way we go. So we're presented with something and it's like, right, which way am I going to go? It's also got a lot of emotion in it for me as I'm talking about it. Obviously, an octopus being, you know, an aquatic creature, there's a lot of energy, watery energy in that. So it speaks to me of quite an emotive choice to be made, quite a sort of serious pose, something that you'd need to think about. And many possibilities, because it's not just the tentacles, it's just everything that's all around as well. It's kind of, well, what am I going to go for? It's turning in my favor, so it's really good. It's a positive thing. But when it kind of comes up, it almost feels like time's of the essence too, that I've got to make the decision quickly. I've got to be right. I've got to be on this. I've got to decide. I've got to intuit, you know, what I feel at the time to make sure I make the decision that's right for me. So that's what that one says to me. But obviously, if you've got any more insights, please do say.
Hold it up a bit closer. I'm just going to get it off the camera, and obviously for the viewers. But I mean, I love this deck that you've got, because I know you've shown me other cards that you've had come up, and it's absolutely beautiful. The artistry that goes into that is just phenomenal. So just appreciation in terms of that anyway, and how that's constructed. But definitely with the tentacles, but also you know, having sort of many many hands in different places, as in the opportunities are kind of endless around.
Yeah.
And it is often based on choice, isn't it? And I think that's where that kind of ties into mine with that dice.
Yeah.
Right, throw the dice. There's an element of chance, there's an element of you know, I could make this choice or I could make that choice, and both are probably good choices, because we know that no choice is a bad choice. It's always going to serve us right in the end. But it's almost like I can feel that emotion because of the water energy, being a water sign myself, and also the flow, just the movement of the octopus is very flowy, isn't he or she?
Yes. Yes.
Kind of in that element of the emotions, but naturally in the element of the emotions. And actually taking more of that divine feminine aspects when you think of that as well, that kind of nurturing side within the emotions. But it's got the words on the bottom, hasn't it? Change, and what's the other one? Change.
It's possibilities. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes. It's possibilities are endless, and also just to recognise that if there's any choices that we do find that we need to make to allow that wheel to continue turning in the favour that we want, in the direction that we want, that the possibilities from making that choice, it then opens up around other opportunities, doesn't it? If it's divinely aligned, it opens up positive opportunities. So that's fantastic. I love that. Thank you. So my second one is actually from the Druidcraft Tarot, which was gifted to me by none other than Amos. So yeah, lovely, because I think you sensed that it was a deck that I would be drawn to.
Yes.
And certainly what we have here. Okay, so they're both just known as the wheel on these decks, but we have this lady here, and obviously it's never gender specific. This is just based on the energy and the character in the card, but she is actually marking out her own circle. She's marking out her own wheel. And what I find interesting is, I mean, the symbolism probably means something as well, but the yellowness here makes me think of that solar plexus truth, personal truth and values. So she's actually taking the decision, because it's interesting we mentioned about choices, to form the wheel in her own favour. So almost not allowing the wheel to just turn for her. She's actually consciously drawing it out, and she's in the centre of it. This is what I want to do. This is my wheel. And it's also interesting that she is by some water.
Yeah.
But she's also shielded by these rocks as well. So there's an element of protection, I think, divine protection, because as we know, if you're aligned on the path and you're making those choices that are best suited in alignment to you, then it's going to be, you're going to have that protection, it's going to turn in your favor in that way. But she's also focused as well. That's another thing that I see, the focus and the concentration. So I don't know if you pick up anything else from this one. I mean, I pick up a lot more in this one, and I use this more. But this one is also a beautiful depiction of just taking charge of your own journey. It's that kind of thing. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That is the biggest thing that stands out to me is taking charge of your own, and trusting in yourself. And she looks like she just totally trusts in herself, and she trusts that she's protected and safe as in the decisions that she makes. So yeah, I love that.
Definitely. Yeah. And of course, blue on, so it's that expression of her truth as well, isn't it, in terms of that? So yeah, beautiful. Yeah. And okay, let's go for your next.
So my second one, again, the same as you, I've gone with my first one, which is my current kind of favorite, if you like. So this one is taken from the Pagan Ways Tarot, so it's got good reflection going on it, as you can see. A bit sparkly there. Interestingly, this one isn't referred to as the wheel, it's referred to as weird.
Oh, okay.
So it's very interesting that obviously the pagan ways, the energy is obviously slightly different with these cards. We talked earlier about the black and the white, light and the dark, but it doesn't feel like a dark energy because they're all in white, so they're all pure beings of light. but they've kind of got that web around them, that intricate kind of web. So they're really thinking, I would say, into much more detail about the, you know, those choices, those possibilities. They're really thinking about what they would like to manifest. So it's almost like this is the next kind of stage of it. They've sent something out there, they've sent a wish out there, and then they're waiting to kind of see what lands and where the hand of fate is going to land and where it's going to take them. And the combined, obviously, power of 3 there with that manifestation of things coming to fruition. So it's quite a lot of complex energy there. It feels very astral. So it is kind of like they've sent it up. There's my wish. So I'm waiting for it to land and see kind of what, you know, what is going to be next on my destined path. So there's more of a magic within this card, I feel.
There is.
Yes,
it is very magical.
Any more feelings on that one?
Yeah, I mean, it is very magical, and I just from looking at it, just how I can see it here, I mean, I can see there's 3 individuals there, but also kind of from looking back, it almost looks like a torso.
Yes,
with the 2 arms. So it almost feels like there's that unity within the power of 3. There's unity, and also the purity again with the white that's so vibrant. And we know that obviously without darkness we can't discern the light. You know, the light comes through because of that. And I think it's another beautiful depiction, and again in a different way, because you can get so many more messages in readings for people, can't you? Because whatever comes out with that card, you can then kind of intuit what that's trying to say. And I think, yeah, there's definitely that unity element that I'm feeling from it, but also with the web. And it is almost, when you think of a spider's web, again, that protective element as well, isn't it? But something that they do on their journey as a natural part of life.
Yes.
So it is all about the natural journey that we're all taking and we're all on, and these things come up for us to either kind of make that decision, make that choice, or to respond to something. But we're still making a choice, but you know, we're responding to something on our path, and that's going to either set the trajectory of the wheel turning, or maybe it's going to identify something where we need to work on it a bit more because there's stagnancy, in order to get the wheel turning again in the motion in which we're heading, which is forward.
Yes.
So yeah, very powerful, very, very powerful.
Yeah.
I've got a wild card here.
Oh, she's got a wild card.
Yeah, because I'm very curious to know what you feel from it. So this is from the Labyrinth Tarot, which I use as clarifiers often. It's a very small deck, but it's known as the Wheel of Fortune in this deck, and this is imagery. Yeah. So again, mentioning about that protection, I felt that because of the wings up here. But it's quite oldie worldy as well. So I don't know if you get any vibes from it, any feels from it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, when you said oldie worldy, I was thinking, yeah, historical, isn't it? It's very historical. Kind of, there's a lot of energy in that, and thinking about that kind of that predestined course and all the stuff that, you know, we believe in, that certain things are meant to occur on our journey. It makes me think more about connections to past life things that need to then kind of come into this life, because it's part of what we need to also learn and master in this life. That feels very sort of, there's more of a karmic feel to that, more of a past lifey feel to that. Yeah, I like that. Very powerful.
Yeah, totally. I there was a reason for, you know, being drawn to show this as well. Definitely. So I guess, you know, it's beautiful to look at those cards and to just get that energy from the cards as well, because, you know, certainly feel more buzzing to talk about this today with you as well, because I know forward to doing it, and it does seem the right time, as you were saying earlier. But generally then, so we've covered quite a lot of topics, obviously what we feel with the wheel generally, and also in terms of the cards and what we can intuit from those. And I'm sure, like I say, those of you watching, obviously if you pick up anything else, drop a comment below, because it'd be really interesting to see what you think. You might have picked up something else from it as well. But when we think of the wheel, it's number 10 in the tarot, which is a cycle. So it does represent that, doesn't it? About that cycle.
Yes.
The cycle of life, old cycles ending, new cycles beginning. Again, the reference to the past life thing of actually bringing stuff in, karma from the past that needs clearing out, often in old cycles to move into the new. And when we think of where it comes from, and I've lost the other card I had here, but never mind. But it comes after the Hermit card in tarot. And it comes before the Justice card. The Justice card is the one I had, the Hermit one. So it kind of comes after that introspection. So it's almost like taking that time to really go within and understand the soul, the intuition, what that's speaking to you about in terms of your journey. And then we've got the wheel. So it's like, right, the wheel's got the opportunity to turn in that direction. You've gone within, so you know what to do to get the wheel to turn. And then, of course, after, it brings about the justice. So it brings about the balance, which we spoke about as well, the reciprocity, everything that we want in life generally. And then, of course, it moves into the Hangman, which is that sort of fresh perspective. I know sometimes, depending on what cards it comes out with, can imply a stuck energy. And it can, but it can also represent, I feel, a fresh perspective. So needing to actually, in the Hangman position, you see things from a different point of view. So it's, it's very interesting how the tarot is. But going back to the wheel, I guess, is there anything else that you feel particularly drawn to talking about in relation to the Hermit before and the Justice after? So we've got the wheel in the middle of those cards. Is there anything you feel with that?
Yeah, perhaps, without going too much into my own personal journey, because I know we've discussed this at length many times, as we always do. But the Hermit, I definitely feel relates to a particular character in my life story. Not me, I hasten to add. So the wheel coming next feels quite powerful because it's like things are turning, things are changing. Yeah. The Justice card is one that I resonate with, being a life path 11. The themes of justice, fairness, balance, been very important to me throughout my life, and know they will continue to be. I always want to seek, the best outcomes for everybody that I come into contact with. I include myself in that, obviously, as well, but anybody that I help on a client or personal, indeed any basis. Yeah. So I think that the wheel kind of being in the middle is quite powerful. And I know we've talked a lot about number 10 recently as well. And it's cyclical nature and a positive sort of beginning. So I think that's all the insight, but that needed to come out. So honouring my throat chakra.
Absolutely, and it is definitely that kind of ending of old cycles that have not served us,
yeah.
Or even just that, negative thought patterns or doubts that we're kind of ending, because we want to move into the new. We want the wheel to turn in our favor. Of course we do. We want to support that energy. The universe, divine source energy, however you resonate, wants to support us too, so that it's very important to make that be known, isn't it? Because often we can kind of silo ourselves away in that hermit mode. Yes. And feel like we are literally facing everything on our own, but we do have support, whether it is from other people around us in the 3D or whether it's the 5D support of the spiritual realm and whoever we resonate with and associate with in that, because it's different. But certainly when it comes to our destined, our aligned path, then the universe is wanting us to definitely take those leaps, take those chances on us, because it all starts within, doesn't it? So take those chances on us, really believe that what we're doing and what we're striving towards is the best for us, and then the wheel is going to turn. I mean, I keep doing that like with the 2, but it turns the right direction for us. We gain that momentum, and that's about the justice. And I will say that the 10th of July, so the 10th of July is the next new moon. That seems very appropriate to say that as well. We are in Cancer season, so it's new moon in Cancer. So that can be an emotional time, but certainly when you look at intention settings and manifestations, because Neptune's currently in retrograde as well, being able to gain those intuitive hits from within you and aligning with your truth to make those intentions and manifestations really about where you want to go in terms of your journey. And I think the wheel is that energy that supports us. If we have the wheel mind of the wheel turning, however you want to kind of visualize it, but it's almost, in order to get it turning, we don't want to just be standing on it. So it's stopped. Sometimes we need that time, but that's the hermit time, isn't it? That's the hermit time. We want it to be moving again. So manifestations and intention settings, and certainly on one of your cards, there was the power of 3, there was the unity of 3. So 3 is all about manifestation as well, as we know. So yeah, that was just something I felt I needed to say. And I have made some notes earlier, but I haven't really referred to them because it just felt like it was kind of within of what needed to be. But I don't know if there's anything else that you want to say as a final thing, Amos, in terms of the wheel, just generally in terms of, well, it's not just love connections, it's general, isn't it? It's to do with our lives in this 3D reality that we're navigating. We've spoken about it. It's like being at Earth school. So we're having to navigate our way through, but checking in with ourselves, which is that soul. And many of us have lived quite a lot of past lives. So we've got that wisdom within us to bring forward into these situations. We just need to tap in and get to it. And then get that wheel turning, take those risks, gain that balance, look for that expansion, get the wheel turning. So any final points from you?
Not really. I think we've covered it really well. And I think it's important to honour, particularly when you're looking at cards, isn't it, that it essentially you're channeling, it's coming out as a stream of consciousness, what you feel, as my nose is itching, because it's different every day. I could look at, the octopus wheel card again tomorrow, and I could feel something completely different from that. So I think it's very important to think, okay, that's how I feel personally, but if I was doing that for someone else, that could be an entirely different interpretation, and that's the beauty of this journey. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it is the beauty of this journey, and certainly from both of us in terms of the light worker side and the reader side, a beautiful journey to assist others because of the very thing that you mentioned, which is that divine channeling and actually spirit coming through with those intuitive hits as well, because spirit draws us to these things via our soul, via our intuition, and I'm extremely grateful for that, because I see different things often each time as well. There was an oracle card that I've seen many times because I've had it in my own, for my own personal kind of daily card when I was doing that, but I did a reading for somebody and I saw something completely different in it. And it was basically because the other cards around it, it was telling a story. It was a specific message for that person. So it's very important to always, for everyone watching, if you're watching readings, the general collective readings or anything like that, to always use your discernment, because it's not going to resonate for everyone if it's on a collective level. But personal readings is that kind of clear, intuitive insight into your unique journey. But I think it's always important to say about discernment, isn't it? Because it's not going to resonate for everybody. Just like we're holding up the cards now and we're saying what we feel about the cards on that general level from our own intuitions, viewers might be feeling that they can see something different, and that's absolutely fine, because it's beautiful that we can all see things through different lenses. So I wish everybody well on their journey in terms of the wheel, and looking ahead to the new moon as well with manifestations, etc. So thank you very much, Amos, for joining me today. And it would be good to do another one of these. So again, if anybody wants to comment below with another card, of course, we focused on a major arcana card of the tarot, which is powerful energy in itself. But if there's a specific suit of cards, or, there is another major arcana that you'd be quite interested to see what we can bring to it from our different decks, then please comment below, because it's all about interacting with the collective as well. Thank you for your support, for liking, sharing and subscribing where you do. It's really appreciated, because it helps grow the channel, it helps get the message out there into the collective, and it's all about spreading love, light and positivity at the end of the day, which we need more than ever at this time. Finally, just to say, I'll hand it back over to Amos, just a final reminder of how people might want to get in touch with you if they want to book a reading or anything to do with Reiki. So I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah, so yeah, once again, thank you for having me. Really enjoyed the discussion today, Kirstos. Yeah, my website is rainbowhealingservices.com. Can also be found through Facebook and Instagram, Rainbow Healing Services, funnily enough. So yeah, feel free to get in touch if you're drawn to. And yeah, would love to hear from you. Thank you.
Great. No, thank you very much for being part of it. And as always, my details will be in the description box below, and I'll pop Amos's details there as well. But yeah, looking forward to connecting again soon. But until the next time, send you love, light, blessings. Take care, everybody. Bye.